Have you ever watched someone claim to be a master of martial arts, only to see them get destroyed by a real fighter? Sounds crazy, right? But in the world of martial arts, it happens more than you might think. These so-called masters strut around like they own the place, boasting about their unbeatable techniques. But when they step into the ring with a true fighter, their so-called skills are put to the test, and spoiler alert, they never seem to measure up. In today's video, we're diving into the world of these fake masters and showing you how real fighters deal with these self-proclaimed gurus. Let's dive in. Xu Xiaodong, the man who exposes fake masters. First up, we've got Xu Xiaodong, aka the Fake Master Slayer. This guy made it his mission to expose frauds and knock some sense into these delusional masters who think they can fight without ever training a day in their lives. He wasn't just talking the talk, he was walking the walk and punching it too. One of his most famous matches was against a guy who claimed he could defeat anyone with his mystical, magical martial arts moves. This guy had been bragging about his mastery for years. But when he finally stepped into the ring with a real fighter, he might as well have been stepping into a comedy show. Xu Xiaodong exploded out of the gate like a cheetah on roller skates, and before the fake master even knew what hit him, he was flat on his back in a coma. The referee didn't even know if it was a fight or a takedown scene from a superhero movie. Lesson learned: don't mess with real fighters unless you want to be a human rug.
KO 获胜。
The no-touch martial arts clown. Here's a classic, an infamous no-touch martial artist who believed that with the power of his mind, he could defeat anyone. No punches, no kicks, just the power of his brain. Wait, what? Yeah, exactly. This guy thought he was the human version of a Jedi, except without the cool lightsaber. So he steps into the ring, and the real fighter is like, "Okay, let's see what you got, Professor X." The fake master starts waving his arms around, trying to summon mystical energy waves. But all the real fighter saw was an adult waving his hands like he forgot to pack his lunch. Guess what? The energy waves didn't work. The real fighter started punching him like he was a punch card in a vending machine, and the fraud was the snack. A few solid hits, and the guy realized that when it comes to real fighting, you need more than just good intentions and a dramatic sound effect. No amount of chi is going to save you from a solid punch to the face. The monk who got a reality check. Next up, we've got a self-proclaimed monk from the Tibetan mountains. This guy waltzed into a boxing gym like he was ready to show off some lethal moves. Well, he certainly did show off, and then immediately got knocked out. Talk about an entrance. The bell rang, and what followed wasn't a spiritual awakening, it was a spiritual beating. The real fighter wasted no time in showing him that meditative moves don't hold up when you're facing someone who can punch faster than a speeding bullet. Despite getting pummeled, the monk still tried to act like he was enlightened, but his face said otherwise. After realizing his lethal moves were just slightly ineffective, he decided to take the walk of shame straight out of the ring. Guess he didn't get the memo. No amount of Zen can prepare you for an MMA punch to the face. The self-proclaimed legend versus the rookie. Now, for a real treat, an elderly fake master decided to throw a handkerchief at a young MMA fighter. Yeah, you read that right. A handkerchief. This was his idea of a challenge. I mean, did he think he was in an old-school kung fu movie where the handkerchief is some kind of ancient fighting technique? The real fighter didn't waste any time. He knocked the legend out cold with the kind of speed that would make a cheetah jealous. It was a one-sided match. The legend barely had time to finish his "I'm a master" speech before he was out for the count. Lesson learned: age doesn't matter when your opponent has the hunger of a young fighter and the power of a freight train. The Wing Chun master, who got a rude awakening. Oh, this one's good. A self-proclaimed Wing Chun master who thought he could take on a kickboxer. This guy walked into the ring looking like he had never seen a punch thrown at him in his life. He was all swagger and no substance. Kind of like the kid in class who talks a big game but can't pass a single test. The fight began, and the fake master tried pulling off some flashy Wing Chun moves. Spoiler alert, it looked less like a fight and more like he was trying to swat a fly in slow motion. Meanwhile, the real fighter took care of business in less time than it takes to microwave a frozen pizza. He delivered a few solid punches, and the Wing Chun master was out of ideas and oxygen. Real talk. You can't dance your way out of a punch to the face. The flying dragon master gets smashed. And here we have a fake master who believed he could channel the power of a flying dragon. Dragon. more like a slightly annoyed lizard. This guy walked into the ring thinking he was going to unleash some mythical force. But instead, he ended up looking like he was auditioning for the role of a flying rat. The so-called master started doing his dragon moves, but the only thing flying was his dignity, straight out the window. His opponent wasn't having any of it. He started landing punches like a freight train, and the dragon was grounded before he could even flap his wings. In the end, the guy learned that if you're not ready to back up your wild claims with real skills, you'll end up as the punchline of a very expensive joke. Sorry, buddy, no dragons today, just reality. The dance of defeat. The dancer who got destroyed. This next master thought he could take on a Real fighter with his dancing moves. Yes, dancing, because nothing screams, "I'm a deadly fighter," like twirling around in the ring like you're performing in Swan Lake. He probably thought he was going to perform a graceful pirouette and win the match with a wave of his hand. The Real fighter didn't even blink. He immediately delivered punches that sent the so-called dancer straight to the ground. No graceful spins, just instant reality checks. The fake master ended up crumpled on the floor like an uncoordinated mess. It was less of a fight and more of a one-sided dance recital, but the punchline was clear. Stick to the dance floor, buddy. The ring's not your stage. So there you have it. These fake masters getting absolutely destroyed by real fighters. It's a hard lesson in humility, and it's hilarious to watch. These so-called masters might have fooled a few people with their flashy moves and big words, but when it comes to real fighting, there's no substitute for actual skill. Remember, folks, real fighters don't need to talk. They just show up and let their fists do the talking. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you can catch more moments where karma has the final say. See you in the next one.